This right here just proved why Tanjiro is the MC in Demon Slayer, because at the end of the day, especially with shonens, emotional drives and reasons are kind of the fuel. You know, they talk about power of friendship a lot in shonens because that's kind of like an excuse of how they power people up. But at the end of the day, humans are driven by emotions. We don't do anything without having an emotional reason to do so. So the idea of a world-ending threat, saving your sister, all these things, you do need to have an emotional MC in order to do it, but there's good and bad ways to handle that. But Tanjiro, he's a character that I really think is a perfect example of having that extreme emotion and having it utilized in a way that makes it come across as like, yeah, there actually is no better MC in this show. I don't look at any of the other characters I've seen in Demon Slayer and say they should have been the MC instead. Because while I definitely have had moments throughout these seasons of Demon Slayer where I'm like, okay, Demon Slayer's a little too goofy right now. Like, let's just reel it back in. I don't really have that issue with this season because this season's kind of the final hurrah. Everything after this is just going to be an endgame. It's going to be deaths, sacrifices, and emotional turmoil. I have no issue seeing Tanjiro and the likes just completely goofy because this is going to be the last time they're able to do so. But seeing Tanjiro move that rock, move that boulder, not because of, I thought when they were talking about everything that were, I was like, oh, they're talking more about physics here rather than pushing, maybe we gotta roll it, right? I'm thinking that's what they're going. No. Instead, that conversation during the night when they're making dinner about how, like, what is it that fires you up? And we don't see a flashback, but we can know it's the loss, because that's when Tanjiro's at his most emotional, is when people are dying in front of him or he's losing someone important. And the idea of using that as fuel, because it's more than just the boulder being moved. It's not about a physical strength thing, that he needs to reach a strength in order to be the best Hashira. No, it's about connecting to your inner feelings and using the most painful of his memories as fuel to protect those around him so they aren't added into that fuel of those that he couldn't save. And to watch him do that, you actually felt like not only did he earn it, he didn't pull this off at the beginning of season 1. He didn't just randomly do that. No, this is episodes and arcs upon end of him getting to this point, and to see that mark glow up, I actually look at Tanjiro and being like, you know, it's not going to be good. There's going to be a lot of sacrifice. I wouldn't be shocked if Tanjiro loses an arm or a leg or two, but I feel like he's ready. That while yes, it is just a training arc, and a lot of it was kind of goofy fun, I actually feel like by the end of the exchange, Tanjiro actually has learned something that's going to allow him to approach the final battle and be at his very best. People can say what they want about Demon Slayer, but I don't think Tanjiro is an issue, and I think he's the perfect MC for a show like this. Now, of course, I have full live reactions to all these episodes of Demon Slayer over on Patreon. If you want to see my full and good thought to this or any of these episodes, it's over there exclusively. So, we have 2 more episodes left of the Hashira training arc, and Upper 4 is still up to no good. We get a bit more confirmation of what Upper 4 is up to, so basically, up until this point, they have scouted about 60% of the Demon Slayers, so they know of all that. The main mission is, of course, locating Nezuko, because that's their objective. So the fact that they've scoured and scouted like 60% means like the fact that they still haven't found her, it's good news, but we're losing less and less, you know, people that can kind of shield her, because they're like, okay, let's try this corner. Oh, she's not over here. Eventually, they are gonna find her. And next week's episode doesn't really give me an intimidating feel. I think it's like literally called Stone Hashira, insert character name. It doesn't give me the vibe that Upper 4 is about to mess around and find out, or Muzen's about to mess around and find out, but it does feel like episode 8 is gonna pop off. That maybe next week is gonna let us completely drop our guard, and then episode 8's gonna sideswipe us. Because the fact that Upper 4 is already scurrying about, at any point, these general soldiers could have been jumped, but the fact that they're buying their time, they're scouting because they need to know exactly where to attack and where to jump, it's bad, because right now it feels like, from the Demon Slayer side, it's like, okay, the Hashiras are thinking, they're currently laying low, we have time to strengthen our forces, and then we take the fight to them. But in actuality, it seems like Muzen is just letting them think that while he locates his target, aka Nezuko, and then he's gonna jump their ass. Either way, there's gonna be a lot of death. Now, how many big name deaths? Who knows? I'll be shocked if at least a couple of Hashiras don't die, because I expect at least a couple, but there's gonna be a lot of general soldiers who are not gonna make it. And this is why I think this arc's important, because there has definitely been extensions from the manga. Last week apparently was a pretty much page-for-page adaptation. But the idea of really giving those moments, whether it was the paper airplane stuff, whether it was some of these like bonding sequences, because they are gonna die. And are we going to shed tears for these nameless soldiers? Probably not, but depending on Tanjiro or the others' reactions, if they see someone skewered, it's going to be painful. We actually feel like they're people. They're not just insert 100 soldiers to get killed so our main character gets to the objective. These are people. And there's a reason why a good show with an end-of-the-world threat feels like we care about the fate of the world versus one that isn't. If you write it in a way that you're like, okay, I will feel bad if the general village to my right is getting destroyed, because even though I don't know their names, they feel like people. They feel like a mother trying to protect their kids. In this case, it feels like soldiers trying to give their life for their country. They are gonna die. I'm probably not gonna shed a tear, but I feel like this arc has done a great job at making me care for them as people, rather than meat shields to protect the named characters. And that's what's important about this arc. In my humble opinion, you could not skim down on this arc. 100%. When this season initially got announced, people told me it should only be 2 to 3 episodes and there's no way it would be a full season. And yes, I do recognize the anime extended a lot, so it allowed for this to happen. But at the end of the day, this is the perfect setup arc. The perfect let you catch your breath, get the characters up to speed, but most importantly, get the viewer up to speed on the fact that these are people. The fact that when the 3 of those, so when we're doing our training, 3 of them are leaving saying, you know, apologies, we just can't do this, right? The fact that not everyone's gonna live up to expectations. Not everyone's gonna be able to rise to the occasion, but it's the fact that it's a team effort. It's not Tanjiro just needing to master some mark on his body in order to power up. It's collectively a group effort, and this is why I like this arc. It's fun seeing Zensu and Inosuke and the gang just be silly and goofy, because for all we know, this is the last time they'll ever be able to do it. I hope all 3 make it, but it's not a guarantee. So giving them this final, and it doesn't feel like it's stupid. There are times where authors will write stuff like this, and you're like, the enemy could jump us at any moment, and they're playing house. It makes no sense. Here, the enemy can't jump us at any moment from their point of view, so it just, everything has credibility. And while I still stand by this is the weakest Demon Slayer arc, it is incredibly important, and I wouldn't change this arc from existing. I am excited for what comes after, but I don't consider this to be a waste of time in the slightest. And like I said, this really does flex why I think Tanjiro is the perfect Shonen MC for a show like this, because he uses emotions to enhance himself in all the right ways. Let me know what you thought of this week's episode though down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course ring that bell so you can get notified when I upload more. And like I mentioned, we got those full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. So today we got Marco-san, here Night 12, we have Just, Reedy Reed, Jessica L. Compton, Hinokaga, Ishta, and Chloe NG. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and y'all have a good one.